love a song that wraps up the movie at the end, don't we, folks? So I stepped out during the screening to take care of something, and I saw somebody drinking a glass of tap water, and I almost smacked it out of my hand. On that note, please welcome back to the stage Matt Farley. And please welcome, moderating our Q&A tonight, the Chicago Readers, Leo Galileo. Thanks, guys. I'm going to leave you two to it.
Thank you, Katie.
Hey, Matt.
Leor.
I'd like to start at the end. Did you spoil the movie for all the people you were performing that song for?
It's a lot to take in, so I don't think they were paying attention. But it's good. Anytime we have an audience like that's at my annual extravaganza. It's like we can't not shoot a scene because it's so hard to get people together.
Certainly.
Yeah.
You mentioned your wife suggesting the movie Evil Puddle. Was this what she had in mind?
I don't know. I think she enjoys challenging me like that, just to throw out a preposterous idea and see if I'll spend the next year and a half making it.
As you were planning this movie out, did you prepare for rain?
Yeah, well, I mean, for sure we were aware of that, and what it turned out, rain, the problem was the puddles are hard to see, you know, like we would wet the ground and then it would all immediately go into the earth and you couldn't even tell. So it turned out being the opposite problem.
So did you attract the attention of like a water commissioner, an actual water commissioner while filming this because you were using so much water?
No. And as you can see, we went pretty light on the actual puddles. Okay, also, I just want to add, in everybody's situation, they're like, it's the only way, you know? And us, the audience, are watching it and like, no, this is not the only way. Like when McGee lays down his life for Ruby, you're like, why don't you just take a few steps in that direction? And in the script, he's like, we're at the bottom of an incline. It looks pretty flat, I'm sorry. And we didn't do it on purpose. We wanted it to be at the bottom of an incline, but there was a bee's nest right above that spot, and the girl who was playing Ruby was terrified, and we're like, all right, we'll move it to the side yard, which is why McGee says, let's adjourn to the side yard. And we're doing this on the fly and we had just met the two actors, the dance instructor and Ruby, and Ruby only had 3 hours to do it. She was totally roped into doing it by the dance instructor, who's a friend of hers. So it was totally just making it up as we go and figuring things out. But that's how you can get a movie like this made. You just have to figure some stuff out and go.
Speaking of a movie like this made, I assume most of you are familiar with Matt's filmography. Yeah? You made this movie during a period where you've just been, for lack of a better term, cranking out movies. How did you take us through the process of this current period of Moturn films?
Right, yeah. So we made Slingshot Cops in 2016. And then 2019, we started filming Metal Detector Maniac, and it took a very long time to make. And as we were getting close to finishing it, Charlie and people started paying attention to our movies. That's what happened, is some Will Sloan and Justin DeClue wrote a book about our movies. Thank you, yes. And it was, and that kind of got the juices flowing a bit for me and Charlie. We were like, oh, you know, when people watch your movie, it's better, you know? And so we were like, let's challenge ourselves. So the goal was 2021 through 2025, we wanted to make 10 movies. We ended up making 7, but you set the goal really high so that even if you don't reach it, you still achieve a lot. So 7 movies in 5 years is pretty good.
It's also only June. You have a few more months left to make 3 more movies.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, this movie broke us a little bit. This one took long. Did you see how many faces are in this movie?
Yeah, I was going to say, you mentioned Slingshot Cops earlier, and I know that was a challenge. this seems to be the largest ensemble you've had since then, and it's also the first movie since Slingshot Cops in color.
Yeah. So it's like you forget about how painful it is to film with a big cast, you know. And so it's like running a marathon. After the marathon, you say never again, and then 6 months later, you're like, yeah. And you forget how painful it was, you know. Same thing with making a movie with a huge cast. We forgot, but we've been reminded after this. But one lesson we learned was keep groups of people separate from other groups of people, because if we needed like, you know, every character to interact with each other, it would have been a nightmare. So it was really just like keep all the kids together, keep all the pizza shop people together, and I'll just kind of be the one who goes from place to place.
It's a pretty densely, intricate plot, especially in comparison to a lot of your other films. How long did it take for you and Charlie to put this together?
Yeah, well, we're always, when we're filming one movie, we're kind of, while we're setting up the camera, we might chat about ideas for other movies, and then we jot them down. And so we kind of piled up a bunch of general ideas, and Charlie was like, we gotta work the phrase hermetically sealed into it. And I was like, yep, absolutely. What does that mean anyway? He's like, I don't know, but we gotta put it in there. And probably 6 months we would meet once a week on Skype. Yeah, Skype. With a Google Doc, because he lives 3 hours from me. And so 2 hours a week, writing out a few scenes for 6 months, and then boom, you got a movie ready to go.
Which 3 hours, he was in LA for a while, right?
Yeah, so he's a lot closer than he used to be, which is great.
And I imagine makes making movies that at such a fast clip easier?
Yeah. But 3 hours hurts a little bit because we mostly film on Saturdays, and so one of us is getting up at 5 in the morning and driving 3 hours before we even start.
One of the many things that I appreciate about your movies is this sense of place. When you were envisioning what Media Light was, what were the physical places that you were thinking of? Also, why Media Light?
So we had this I put out on the website, if you want to name our characters, you can pay us, and you can help defray the cost of the movie. And for instance, William Van Ryn is like the friend of a person who emailed me and said, will you name the character after my friend? And I think the real William Van Ryn doesn't even know yet. So we were doing that with Paloma V, William Van Ryn, Dr. Jeff Tesson. At the premiere, the real Dr. Jeff Tesson was in the audience with no clue. And he's just sitting back, and Kevin McGee is playing Dr. Jeff Tesson, so that was pretty exciting. One guy from New Jersey sent me a message. He was like, hey, I run a company called Media Light. Would you name a character Media Light? And I said, that's we're above that. Right. But we'll name the town Media Light, yeah? So if you need bias lighting for your TV, it's the lights that go behind your flat screen TV, use Media Light. When you watch it again, it's so much more fun. Like McGee is like, may your beauty be a shining star for the people of Media Light. What a performance.
What is the real Jeff Tesson a doctor of?
I don't know.
But he's an actual doctor.
He's not a medical doctor. He's got his doctorate in something. It's not Pilgrim Studies, though.
There's always tomorrow.
Life is long.
The locations for this one, because for as long as I've been watching your movies, it's like very New England. Where were some of these places? Because I don't recognize any of them.
Well, first off, the pizza shop was a guy named Seth who started watching our movies and liking them, sent a few emails and mentioned he owned a pizza shop, and I was like, hey, we would happily film in your pizza shop, and so that's Seth, the guy playing the owner of the shop is the owner of the shop, and he let us all descend him. It was in Albany, New York, and so Just a bunch of us went there. Of course, look, if you try to make a movie, the universe will conspire to ruin it for you. And so the one day his air conditioning doesn't work is that day that we're filming and it's 90 degrees outside, ovens are on, everyone's hot and sweaty and gross. But it's so cool because basically in a lot of our other movies, if we needed like a set, it was my garage. Try to make the garage look like a restaurant, and no one was convinced by it. So that was cool. Then the woods of Connecticut, near where Charlie lives, my backyard, Kevin McGee's backyard, Derry, New Hampshire, where I'm doing a lot of the bike ride through town, and my basement, of course, too.
Albany, New York is quite a bit of a drive. How far will you go to film for one of your movies now?
Yeah. I mean, I'm open to anything. It's super valuable to have like a real location to film at, and we sort of like we're like, all right, who do we know within a radius of Albany that we can invite to come hang out there? So it was a fun, memorable day, and that's the other thing. Anyone out there, isn't life boring? You know, it's so boring. You should write a movie and make a movie, and then you have all these amazing experiences. The people who were part of the Angry Mob, wasn't that fun? Yeah. There weren't that many of you. There were only 4 of you there. Wasn't it fun the day we filmed? There we go.
Yeah, this combines your usual ensemble with a much larger cast. How did you gather all these folks?
Well, yeah, these people can attest. I kind of keep a list of people who ask to help out with the movies, and then I reach out to them. And for our friends over there, we met in August, right? And we talked about New Hampshire, and I said they make great chicken tenders in Manchester, and you said you were going to be there, right? Yeah. And I said, text me when you're there, I'll meet you for chicken. So they text me like Thursday night, hey, we're in Manchester, do you want to meet for chicken tenders? I said, even better, would you like to meet me at a playground at 9 a.m. on Saturday and be in a movie? And then they showed up.
This also includes, I think, the largest use of kids in one of your films since Magic Spot, which you had them frozen half the time.
Yeah.
I imagine must have been a challenging experience for everyone.
Yeah, so it's my 2 kids and their cousins. Never again. Never again. I don't want to get my pants wet. Stand over the sprinkler. Just do it. Just stand over the. It'll dry. Your pants are gonna dry. Just do it. Hey, what if I like gain a power that means I can like zap the evil out of the puddle? No, absolutely not. The script's been written. Just say the line, please. They all had different ideas. They were having side conversations. Had to keep quieting them down. Yeah.
How did it change your relationship with them?
No, it's all in the past. We all get along great now. And they're the coolest kids on the playground now. You know, they're in a movie.
Have their friends seen Evil Puddle?
A few, yeah. We had a little screening at a little theater in Lexington, Mass, and some friends came, and they thought it was cool. You know, I'm kind of opposed to like it's kind of exploitive to put kids in movies, but when it's in your own backyard with your family and it's just for a few hours, and it doesn't turn you into like a child star, I think it's safe, hopefully. But maybe they will be child stars when this movie takes off.
Yeah, what's the, this is the Midwest premiere.
Yeah.
You had the big premiere back in Massachusetts. What's kind of the rollout for this?
So we put the word out to people saying, if you want to, the movie won't be online until Halloween. So if you want to see the movie, contact your local theater. And people have been taking us up on that offer, and we have like 10 or 15 screenings scheduled with more on the way around the country. In Canada, it played in London too. So anyone out there who doesn't live directly in this Chicago, go to your local theater when you get home and try to make that happen.
You mentioned earlier that Charlie wanted to put hermetically sealed in this movie. What did you want in this movie that ended up being in it?
Yeah, dirt waves, definitely. Yeah. And that was my kids. My kids will just talk and talk and talk, and at one point they're just talking about dirt waves. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, dirt waves. And I was like, ooh, I like this idea. And I texted Charlie, maybe we could work dirt waves into the script. And then we just had to figure that out after that.
So you did use their ideas.
We used that idea. Yeah. They're all great kids. I'm just joking. We got along great the whole time. They did offer more advice than the average actor. The people in the angry mob, you probably noticed, we just gave you your lines and asked you to spit it right back to us with, no personal, what I'm saying. Anyway.
Good head nodding.
We love people just nodding their heads in movies. And Charlie edited this movie, and he loves letting it linger just a little bit longer than it should. It's like, this scene should be over, right? But Jay Mayo as Hank, kind of just looking. And we think it's the funniest thing on earth.
Where'd you find Jay? Because he's been a kind of a more recent ensemble member.
Yeah, he grew up in Massachusetts, and he asked me to be on his podcast like 12 years ago, and so he came up and interviewed me for his name's Jay Mayo. He had a podcast called Hold the Mayo, and he had me on, and then I was like, yeah, next time we're filming, you can join us, and now he gets to play a Branson crooner.
And a big fan of yours in Local Legends Bloodbath, if I recall.
Anyone who's seen Bloodbath, I sent him a script, which is just like a paragraph of compliments towards me, and I was like, just film yourself reading this. It was great. That's playing Madison. It's playing on Sunday in Madison, Wisconsin. I'll be there. Come on, meet me there. Sunday, Madison, Wisconsin. We're watching Local Legends, then a Matt Farley music performance, and then Local Legends Bloodbath. What an afternoon.
Are you gonna get time to go to House on the Rock?
No, whirlwind tour. I'm going home tomorrow, coming back to Wisconsin on Sunday, then going home Monday.
That's exhausting.
Okay. That sounded rude. I just meant like, okay, I don't know why I'm talking about my schedule. You mentioned earlier you're working on one movie and you're kicking around ideas for the next one. What are you kicking around for the next one? Okay. Evil Spot. Yeah.
You're actually doing it?
Well, we're doing Evil Spot, and I say we're gonna make 10 movies in 5 years, and it ends up being 7. Like right now, I keep on saying, instead of trying to film 6 scenes before noon, okay? What if, hear me out, Leo, what if we spent a whole day on one scene? We get angles, we adjust the lighting, We're not satisfied with take 1. What if we weren't satisfied with the first take and we did multiple takes? What if, now that finally people have embraced our off-the-cuff style of filmmaking, what if we just completely made like a normal movie? So that's
Is that on the table? Yeah.
That's what we're saying. What if instead of making 3 movies in 18 months, we made 1 movie in 18 months? So that's the idea. It's just like, wouldn't it be cool if we just made like a straight movie? Who knows? Who knows how it will come out? But that's how we're approaching it.
I mean, you've said that like the cost of one of your movies is like a used car. So would that be 3 used cars to make that one more?
We're gonna have to sell more character names. It's all for sale. With this movie, I noticed a lot of parallels between a lot of your other work. Obviously, Magic Spot also has time warping involved. Rocks.
Dirt waves and Katie Litter in Don't Let the River Beast Get You.
Yeah.
In rewatching it all these times now that it's premiering everywhere, what threads are you noticing that perhaps didn't come to mind while making the movie?
Yeah, no, I mean, you even mentioned it. I didn't even think of Dirt Waves and Kitty Litter till right now, so that was good. And, but yeah, this felt, the last few movies we made were kind of like, like Heard She Got Married and Heard She Got Murdered were kind of like dark and kind of difficult works, and we were kind of like we owe the audience a good time, you know. People like River Beast, you know. What if we just kind of like get back into that thing? So this was throwing a bone to the people who put up with the weird tangents we've been going on.
Certainly.
Yeah.
In terms of other people watching your movies, finally, this is a huge room to screen a movie, and we were in the courtyard or the garden last year.
I know. Yeah.
Are you gonna take it? Okay. Yeah. Smile, everyone.
Got it.
Yeah. What effect does that have on your approach, how you're thinking of your work, how you're thinking of actually, screening your work in the future?
Yeah. So there's that part, like, it's the part of me that says, ooh, as soon as people, this is wonderful, but it's not like world domination has happened by any means, In this Madison show I've told you about, I think we're in single-digit ticket sales currently. So, we haven't reached the summit yet. But it's so much better than it was. When we when we premiered Slingshot Cops, there were screenings with 6, 7, 8 people, and so it feels so good. It feels wonderful. It's so nice. Everybody here is nice. It makes me happy about life. It makes me think that we were right to just keep going, So thank you, for all that. And then there's that little part of me that says, okay, they know us for this. Let's give them something different next time.
Your 5-year plan is, the 5 years are almost up.
Right.
What is kind of your approach now? What is your next goal for yourself?
Yeah, well, let's make Evil Spot. Let's try this new way of doing it. Let's see what happens. Other future ideas. Losers Out. It's like a basketball movie about guys who just have a one-on-one basketball league. I'm very excited about that. But I'm already like we can't dribble too much because the sound of the dribble is gonna get in the way of the dialogue. So I'm trying to figure that out. And then I really had that conversation with Charlie. I'm like, Charlie, I've been thinking. I don't know anything about Charlie on a personal level, by the way. Like, I've known him since 1997. We only discuss movie plans. Anyway, what's it called? What's the sequel of River Beast gonna be? Something of the Merman? Melancholy of a Merman. Yeah, we want to make the sequel to River Beast called Melancholy of a Merman.
How did you remember that?
Okay. He came to the Massachusetts premiere of Evil Puddle, and he came to the Chicago premiere, so come on. Is that a 5 or a 10?
10.
All right, hang in there for 10 more minutes.
The Paperboy was the answer to the hard question in trivia earlier.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. It's quite good. How often do you revisit that?
Yeah, I haven't revisited it since they did an online retrospective with the Spectacle Theater, and I think it holds up well. And it's funny, like we kind of started with the same comedic style, so it's kind of cool.
The Canadian contingent of your fan base is also partially responsible for putting out your films on Blu-ray. Are you thinking of at any point doing some sort of big production with, you have so many more films out that aren't available physically.
To get more stuff on Blu-ray?
Yeah. Huge Criterion box set is what I'm asking.
Well, I'm open to the Criterion. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
We got Matt Farley in the Criterion closet. We got to see it happen.
The people at the Criterion Collection can get in touch with me very easily. My phone number is readily available. And otherwise, Justin at Gold Ninja Video, he has carte blanche to put out anything anything he wants to in the meantime, and we're so grateful to him. And support us and support a local, like a super low budget label. Go to goldninjavideo.com.
And the book's great. I learned a lot from it too.
Yeah, well, what's another thing, because it's like they wrote a book about all our movies, and then we went and made 7 more movies in the next 5 years. So they got to write a sequel.
It's I'm recalling the interview with your wife, and that she said that she wasn't that interested in being in your movies. She's increasingly more at ease in front of the camera.
Yeah.
How has working with the same kind of group of actors how have they all evolved? How have your relationships changed over the years?
Yeah. No, I think people get better and better, and but sometimes the rawness is even better, Like Jim McHugh, my uncle, he plays Paloma V's dad, and he's brought the same energy to every performance, and he has no consideration of what acting is. We worry about you down in the basement of. Oh, by the way, the basement of the water department, just my basement with that thin pipe. Wouldn't it be bigger?
I would assume there would have been more pipes.
More pipes. We're like, what are we gonna do? We don't have access to a water department. Imagine calling, "Hi, we're a couple of low-budget filmmakers." Maybe it would work, but it would be embarrassing. But anyway, the actors keep getting better, and for lots of them, they'd rather not be in the movie. That's the funny part. I just kind of force them to do it. My wife just figures she'd rather watch me fall in love with her on screen than fall in love with another woman. So she, begrudgingly takes the role, and it's just easier because she lives in the same house as me. So, and I could just be like, "Hey, will you put on this helmet and come downstairs?"
How long was she wearing that helmet cumulatively?
Yeah, it wasn't that long. It was out in the backyard with the kids for an hour, and then down in the basement with me for about 5 or 6 hours. Oh, and Pete in the bathtub, he got very pruny from he was in there for 4 or 5 hours. We had to keep putting more bubbles in.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, is Pete your brother-in-law?
Yeah. So, it's very much a family affair. And so I married his sister, and then his other sister plays the stage manager who's trying to win Jay Mayo.
Gotcha. It really is a family affair.
Big time. It's because I can corner them at family events and be like, "Hey, would you mind coming over on Saturday to be in this movie?" And they're stuck, and they can't say no because they know they're gonna have to face me at the next family event.
Which is interesting, when I first interviewed you, we largely talked about your music, and there was a period of your life where you devoted every free moment to writing and recording poop songs, or ringtones with people's names in them, which I don't recommend listening to.
John Smith, you got a phone call.
Yeah. Just albums where there's 100 of those. My wife thought I was losing it when I was listening to that. I
even told her, I was like, "You can skip that album. Just go to the next one."
But during that period, you said that it would be a weekend and there would be a kid's birthday, and you'd be like, "No, I have to work on poop songs right now." Has at this point in your life, have your priorities shifted and your creative life shifted?
Okay, so if you have like a creative quest and a creative dream in life, it probably isn't paying the bills yet. And so for me, it's like I had my day job, and then the weekend would come, and and I'd be like, I need to fulfill my quest to become a songwriter and movie maker, but people are inviting me to cookouts, and then I have to have that uncomfortable moment where I'm like, I can't come to your cookout, and they say, why? And I say, because I have a creative quest. I want to stay home all day and write catchy, funny novelty songs, because I have a feeling if I wrote 25,000 of them, it could become my full-time job. And then they're like, okay, you know? So it's humiliating and difficult. So a couple things I learned. One is if you get a job where you work weekends, then you don't have to have that conversation with people, because you just say, sorry, my shift is that day, you know? And then your days off are weekdays when nobody throws parties or cookouts, and you can serve your, your goal in life. But so anyway, I'm still skipping most cookouts, but the major holidays and whatnot, I do attend. But it's tough. It's tough when you're like self-employed, because you're the boss as well as the employee, and it's easy to give the employee yet another day off, but you have to, again, fulfill your quest.
Well, it was a goal of mine to see one of your movies on the big screen here, so thank you, Matt, for
Yeah.
being here. Thank you.
Thanks to Katie.
Thank you, Katie.